What's up, people? I am back for another video. Today, we are reviewing The Way of the Dragon, or the movie that basically had Bruce Lee versus Chuck Norris. Um, and essentially, this movie, I love these old martial arts movies, man. Just how simple the plots were. Because basically, this was just a movie of Bruce Lee protecting a restaurant. Essentially, that's the movie. From these gangsters who, I like the setting's interesting because it's set in Italy or Rome, where Tang, that's Jet Li's, not Jet Li, fucking hell, Bruce Lee. I don't know why I fucking said Jet Li. Bruce Lee, um, comes and helps Chen. It's kind of like the love interest, and her uncle who owns this restaurant, who are basically being constantly strong armed by these gangsters. And one day, Tang protects them, and basically it just escalates until they want to try to kill him. And then the gang end up hiring European martial artists, including one named Colt, which that's Chuck Norris's character, and basically that's the movie. Like, very simple. Like, the plot, you could say it's very thin, but I like these kind of movies because, like old slashers, they kept it simple. It's just an excuse to get some cool fight scenes. And something about these old martial arts movies I like too with the fighting style is how, like, realistic it is. Don't get me wrong. I love, like, the Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, or, Jet Li's Hero kind of martial arts movies where the fighting is more stylized and they put, like, more, flair to it. But I do like these old martial arts movies where the fights are almost realistic. It's almost sloppy looking. It's not over the top. Like, they keep it kind of realistic. I like it. So yeah, very good movie. The movie is a bit slow, but like I said, the story isn't necessarily the best, but you're watching for the fight scenes, and I think they really do a good job at getting the fight scenes together. The dubbing's pretty bad, but you can kind of accept it. There's a lot of those old martial arts movies, the dubbing's not going to be the best, so. But overall, fun movie. It's only like an hour and a half, so why not? And the final fight between Bruce and Chuck is probably one of the best fight scenes ever. Like, it was close. They were taking it to each other. Very well made. And you wanted the bad guys to get theirs, so I would probably give this movie like 8 out of 10. Not the best plot, but fun little action martial arts flick. That's really all I could say. So, but yeah, tomorrow I announced this earlier on Instagram. But I am going to be decided to start doing the James Bond movies. So I'm going to do Dr. No tomorrow. It's been a long time since I've seen the Bond movies. So I figured, why not, something that'll keep me going for a while. So, sorry. I'll be doing, so Dr. No review tomorrow. Wednesday, I'll do Event Horizon. I was supposed to do it last Wednesday. Something came up and I just decided to push it to this Wednesday. So I'll be doing it this Wednesday. Thursday, Hellraiser 3. And Friday, we're going to be getting started on the Shrek movie. So we'll be doing the first Shrek movie. So that is my schedule so far this week. But, yeah, let's get into The Way of the Dragon. So we meet Chen and we see her restaurant, basically. Not her restaurant, her and her uncle's restaurant are being, like, strong-armed by these thugs. And outsider Tang comes in one day and sees it, and he basically comes to help him. He ends up beating up this gang with, like, nunchucks. Then he promises to protect the restaurant. He starts getting close with Chen, and starts almost like training some of the people who work at the restaurant. Then one day, the thugs come back and almost like take hostage the restaurant. Then we get another really cool fight scene where Tang takes them all out and swears to protect the restaurant. Then the thugs decide they're going to try to kill him. Like, the movie gets going pretty quick. Like, there's no slow point. So the gang decides they're going to try to kill him. So they decide one day, while because Chen is trying to get Tang to leave because she's trying to protect him from dying. Because they threatened basically that he better leave by Chinese New Year. So Tang refuses to leave. So a shooter attempts to kill Tang. Tang confronts the shooter, manages to take the shooter out, but comes back. And Chen is kidnapped by thugs. The reason I'm just saying thugs, because to be honest, they're kind of nameless villains. Like, they're just generic thugs. They're just there to get beat up by Bruce Lee, you know? This isn't one of those movies where, like, the villain really matters. Like, the villain is just generic bad guy. You know, generic thugs who want to strong-arm this restaurant. That's basically the movie. So, Tang and a couple of the people who were, the people he trained at the restaurant come and take out some of the thugs, save Chen, and then the thugs decide to hire the best Japanese martial artists and European martial artists, which is Colt, that's Chuck Norris's character. They then arrange like a trap where initially I'll just say Tang students try to take out the Japanese guy, but he ends up beating them. But then Tang ends up beating the European martial artist and then beating the Japanese guy. And then chases Colt because I'll just say like one of the main villains runs away and leads him to confront Colt. And this is where we get probably the most known thing from this film. The Jet Li fight. Fucking hell. The Chuck Norris fight. Which, in my opinion, is very well done. I love the choreography in this. Like, the fighting in general in these movies is, like, I like how realistic it is. And just the way Bruce does it with flair, man. Just every little movement. Every little thing. Like, he just, throughout the film, he throws, like, these little, like, I don't know what to call them. Like, knives or, like, I don't know what to call them. Like, these little blades. Like, every little movement, he just moves with style, and it just looks so fucking good. Even now, like, I think that's one of the things. Like I said, the plot isn't necessarily the best. It's kind of, you can argue, it's almost a generic plot, but the fights are great, and I think that's really what you're going for this movie. The plot isn't necessarily what you're going for. But Tang ultimately ends up winning the fight. Initially, Colt actually gets some really good shots on Tang. Like, it was a really good close fight initially. But ultimately, Tang ends up winning, but puts his his gi on his like body, like kind of out of respect. He then ends up confronting the bad guy. The main, I guess, mob leader, I'll just say, shows up and basically kills all his subordinates, but then the police show up because Chen and all of them called the cops, and then Tang ends up basically kind of almost like walking off in the kind of sunset kind of thing, and then the movie ends. You know, movies, like, I know this is kind of a shorter review, but like there's not a lot to it. Like, very basic movie is just an excuse to get, to have Bruce Lee show off his skills, and I think he really does well. And it's so, I'm gonna really point this out a lot in these reviews. It's so sad how he went out, because dude was talented. Like, just every little, like, in every movie, like, even if like this plot isn't necessarily the best, it's just an excuse to let Bruce Lee show off his his skills is great. And and like I said, I like the more old school style of fighting in those old school martial arts movies. There's like some realism about it. You know, I like how a little sloppy it is. Like, it's not as, like, uber, like, fucking... No, no, I like the stylized stuff from Crouching. And I'm going to eventually review that movie at some point. But, you know, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, or, you know, like, even, like, Jet Li's Fearless and stuff like that, where the fights are a bit more, like, there's some style into it, and, like, some over-the-top, you know, like, cinematography, like, whereas the fights in these movies are more realistic, so they're almost, like, sloppy looking, but they still look good. But the Bruce Lee just showed it off with flair, man. Every fight, just every little movement, and just everything he did. And that final fight with Chuck was so fucking good. And I'm not gonna say Chuck's no slouch either. This is a young Chuck Norris too, because he didn't have the beard yet. I think this is because this was 1972, so this is way before like Walker Texas Ranger, before, you know, he became the Chuck Norris we all know. So the fights in this were great. So all awesome movie. Heavily recommend. You know, don't go in expecting the greatest plot ever, or the greatest acting, or, you know, the dubbing's not the best. But just go in there just expecting great fights. Just see Bruce Lee do his thing, and that's all you really need from this movie. And that final fight between him and Chuck Norris is fucking amazing, even still to this day. So I'm happy I watched this, and I'm happy I'm kind of getting back into Bruce Lee movies. I don't know what's the next Bruce Lee movie is. I'll probably announce that tomorrow. Some point tonight I'll look and see what I'll do next. But yeah, I'm happy to finally be diving into Bruce Lee movies. So yeah, that just once again, that final fight between Bruce Lee and Chuck is so fucking good. It was so good. Anyway, tomorrow, Dr. No review. I can't wait to finally get... I was actually a really big Bond fan at one point. But it was like after the Craig, like really the first, because I watched Casino Royale, which I enjoyed. And then I just never watched the later ones, So those, when I eventually get to those, that'll be like the ones I'll watch like blind. But the rest I've seen. Like, Bond was like one of my favorite characters for a while. I don't know what happened. I just kind of got out of the habit. I got out of the habit of watching those movies. So I can't wait to finally dive back into them, and especially starting with the Connery ones, because Connery is my favorite Bond. Still to this day, he's my favorite Bond. I just think, to me, when I think James Bond, I think Sean Connery. So can't wait to watch Dr. No tomorrow. But yeah, but other than that, cheers. Watch The Way of the Dragon. Just watch any Bruce Lee movie. Bruce Lee's the man. But anyway, cheers. But as usual, fuck Joe Biden, fuck Kamala Harris. I'll talk to y'all tomorrow for my Dr. No review. Peace.